Hi everyone, it's Jennifer McCreath. It's February 6, 2014. Just wanted to comment on a series of television interviews that have featured Piers Morgan from who are they? No, CNN, not the BBC. He's from England though, so easy to get confused. And Janet Mock, trans woman, author and activist from New York City, who So Piers invited Janet on to his show to have a little interview and to talk a little Trans 101. Janet's on there selling a book, and after the interview was over, the tweets started flying. Janet was, I guess, raising some concern about Piers' trans etiquette and confusion between sex and gender and pronoun usages and things like that. And Piers tweeted back and forth, and it got totally out of hand. So they both agreed for some reason to go back on television the next night and talk a little further. And what I saw really disturbed me from both, actually. Both ought to know better. Yes, I agree, Danny. Meow. Hi. See, even my cat is upset at this, and I think it's totally understandable. Ultimately, what comes down to is the difference between sex and gender. I don't know how many times I've had to say this, but I'll say it again. Seems both Piers and Janet can't quite seem to understand that sex is between your legs and gender is between your ears. People are born with a sex. They can't help the way they're born. People are not born with a gender. Gender is something only you can discover and know about yourself. I saw both interchanging gender and sex terms. Let's be clear. Male and female are sex terms. It represents biology, your genitals, what's between your legs. Nobody is born a man. They may be born a male. If you have a penis, you are born a male. That's the definition. That's the legal definition, I think, in many countries. The term boy was used. Boy is not sex, it is gender. Boy can be equated to masculinity. It is a gender role, a gender perspective, a gender identity, and it is something that can be expressed as a gender expression. You're not born a boy. I mean, just because you're born with a penis doesn't mean you're a boy. There's a lot of people who are born with a penis who are girls, me included, and perhaps Janet included. Now, I'm not taking it away. If people want to identify themselves as a boy or as a former boy, that's well within their rights. But Janet, when you use that term to reference your former self, you open the door for that question of gender and confusion. If you're female and you're a woman, then that means you're not a boy and you never were a boy. Maybe you used to be a male like I did, but from where I sit right here in this chair, although I've had a change in sex, there's never been a change in gender. From day one, I have always been a girl and a woman. I've never been a boy, I've never been a man. Going back to, now Piers, you're not off the hook here. You acted very immaturely in your tweets and trying to play the victim. You're a news reporter on a major international station. You ought to do your homework and your research. Janet, maybe she gets a little bit of a pass. She's only been out as a trans person for a couple of years. Probably hasn't done a whole lot of media. For some reason, her popularity has taken off and skyrocketed to the point where she's able to write a book and get it on the bestseller list. Good for you, Janet. I mean, I guess at the same time, I also have questions and concerns about mainstream media, who seems mostly interested in trans stories of passable supermodel heterosexual trans women. And they seem to thumb their nose at other trans women who do a lot of amazing things. We've seen Jenna Talikova, the famous Canadian trans woman, who went into a beauty pageant and stood up to Donald Trump. She's got her own television show. Now we've got Janet Mock getting on television, and but yeah, I mean, ultimately I think both of yous are at fault here, and both of yous need to just settle down and calm down. It really bothers me that both consider themselves I mean, neither of you represent me or speak for me. There's no two trans people are alike. Some trans people are quite happy saying that they used to be a boy. A lot, especially, and that, if you go digging through my archives, you're going to see videos where I talk about the difference between transgender and transsexual, and it always links back to this gender versus sex thing. And there's an argument. Some people think you can change your sex without actually changing your sex. Well, you can think that, but ultimately, and I think another thing you, Janet, need to realize is we're talking about CNN here. We're talking about a program that's geared to a very novice audience. Very different if it was you and me sitting in a room having a conversation about trans issues. But when you're Piers Morgan and you're putting together a program for a very novice crowd that knows very little or nothing about this, you're going to have to expect that there's going to be a certain type of portrayals. And I guess you open the door by accepting questions about your boyfriend and things like that. Bottom line, I think you both could have done a better job with this. I hope there's some lessons learned here. They've probably both ignored me, but I've tweeted at both of them, and I've even asked Piers, well, why don't you have me on the show? I'd like to think I'm a fairly significant trans person, the first formally sanctioned trans marathon runner in world history, as well as the most decorated trans politician in Canadian history. We'll see if he responds, or if he's just looking for television brownie points. But yeah, just a simple reminder that trans people are all different shapes and sizes and colors. Not all of us are going to be supermodels, and not all of us want to be supermodels. And yeah, that's about it. Stay off television, Janet. And Piers, you should shut up and keep your nose out of this as well. Let it simmer down and go away. And as far as both of them have put out books, I'm not going to buy them. I'm not going to read them. I don't care. I appreciate that, Janet, you're trans and you've gone through a lot, but so have I. I have absolutely no reason to want to pick up your book. Just because you're a trans person doesn't mean I'm going to read books from trans people. You got to earn your stripes. You got to do something to impress me, and that hasn't happened yet. Anyway, I'm Jennifer McCreath. Thanks everyone for watching.